Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and welcome to Heart of the Home. Today I'm going to show you guys a great pasta recipe, and we're going to be using some delicious spring asparagus. It is in season now, one of my very favorite vegetables to use. So we're going to talk about the asparagus as well, but we're going to start with some prosciutto. Got a little trick here that I want to show you. Prosciutto is basically an Italian ham, so to speak, very thinly sliced. Get it in your deli, get it in your pre-sliced meat section of your grocery stores. However, it is very sticky and it can be very kind of hard to manipulate a little bit. So I've got a little trick I want to show you as well. We're warming up some olive oil in a saute pan here to my right. And when you get these in the grocery stores, they do come usually with papers, which is great for what I want to show you. I've already sliced most of what we're going to be using, but if you leave the prosciutto on the paper and then just run your knife down in strips, so to speak. Now, obviously, we're not going to cook this paper, but this is going to make it much easier to remove. So I pull that prosciutto right off, add it to my bowl, do it with the remaining prosciutto. Some people pronounce prosciutto, which I certainly understand that, but I'm not from Italy, so it's prosciutto to me. So we're going to pull that off, the remaining part. And now we're going to come over to our hot oil in our pan. You do want to make sure that your oil is hot, really for just about any recipe, before you add any sort of product to it. Yes, it's going to render some fat, and we've got some fat in here, so it's going to splatter a bit, and it's going to make a lot of noise. But we're going to separate that and render off that prosciutto. Now, it may kind of, as it's doing, it may kind of try to bunch up on you and get together with that fat. You just want to get in there maybe with a pair of tongs, try to separate that. This is actually going to be garnished on top of the pasta with the asparagus and the sauce. So I just want to separate these pieces. This is going to look really pretty on top of the pasta. So you can see where I'm separating it and it's rendering. It's starting to get a little crispy, which is exactly what we want. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to let that render for a bit more. We'll come back to the other part of the recipe. Once that renders, we're going to be adding some shallots and some garlic to it. But in the meantime, let's talk about this asparagus. I love showing people this trick, but you know, a lot of people will get an asparagus spear and they think they need to snap it where they feel like it's softest. Honest to gosh, I think you're wasting a lot of flavor by doing that. I do not snap it where they think it's tender. I will cut off the tough ends, the ones that are somewhat purple, but I do not go back here, and I'll show you why. I will cut off those tough ends, but if I were to have snapped that where it would be softest, instead of cutting it like I did, I have now wasted a good 2-inch piece. That's a lot of flavor there. You really don't want to waste that kind of stuff. So that's why I would lean more towards cutting the end off as opposed to snapping it where it's the softest. We've got about a pound of asparagus that we're working with, and we want it all in 2-inch pieces here. Now we'll come back to our prosciutto. This is just about done. All right, while the last little bit of that is crisping up, we'll talk about the pasta. We're using a pappardelle today. You can certainly use a tagliatelle. Really, you can use any pasta of choice. I really do like these wider, flat noodles, like a tagliatelle or a pappardelle. I don't know, it just feels like it gives it a little bit more substance when you make your dishes. I've gone ahead and boiled it. I didn't think I needed to do that for you on camera. We've drained it and we've tossed it with a little bit of olive oil since we're not going to be using it right away. So when the time comes, we'll be putting that in our bowl, tossing that with the sauce, and topping it with this beautiful crispy prosciutto, which is pretty much done at this point. So I'm going to take it to a paper towel lined tray. You want to leave your fat in the pan. It's okay if some comes out, but you want to definitely leave some. This is a very simple sauce. This is easy peasy to do when you come home from work at night. All right, so now I'm going to come back with some shallots and some garlic that I'd already minced up. You know, the thing about cooking, what takes the longest is always your prep. Not looking for these to turn brown, really, so you don't want to go too long with it. Soften them up, and you can base that on smell as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the asparagus, those 2-inch pieces. Move those around. And then we're going to hit it with about 1/3 of a cup or so of chicken stock. And I'm just looking to sort of tenderize the asparagus. And one of the things I did, it's a little trick, is to reserve some pasta cooking water. I've got some in this little measuring cup here. If you find this gets to be too dry, or if the heat is too high and you need to add a little bit more liquid, you can certainly add more chicken stock. But what also happens with the pasta water is that adds starch, which helps thicken your sauce. So we're going to let this go for about 8 or 10 minutes to get soft, and we're going to put that together at the end. All right, so our asparagus has rendered somewhat with the shallots and the garlic, gotten it somewhat soft. You can see it's still a beautiful green, which is really, really important. I am going to go ahead and hit it with a little bit of salt now. A little bit of pepper. All right, and then our pasta that we had cooked ahead of time is here in our pot. We're going to put it into a beautiful serving dish here. You may not need all the pasta. Of course, it's going to depend on the size of the serving dish. All right, I think we're just about there to where I want to be. And then we're going to come back and add that beautiful asparagus. Now, in looking at this, I didn't think that I needed any more liquid, so I did not add that pasta water, but certainly you can reserve that, and if you feel like it's too dry, you can come back and add more of that before you toss the asparagus with the pasta. A little heat there, so I want to make sure I don't burn myself. So we're going to toss the asparagus over top of this beautiful pasta. And I believe the recipe that you're going to see calls for a grated Parmesan. I personally, it's fine to use that, but I love the way it looks when we do shaved Parmesan in these recipes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a little bit of shaved Parmesan. I want to come back and stir that up again. And then that gorgeous crisped prosciutto that we did at the beginning. Finish that off there. And there you have it, a simple pasta dish to prepare with that beautiful spring asparagus that's in season now. Pappardelle, asparagus, prosciutto, shallots, and garlic. I'm Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.